What's up, everyone? Welcome to another edition of Coffee with Colin. My name is Colin Egglesfield, and I will be your host for the next hour or so. And I just want to welcome you here. This has been another great season so far. We are in the middle of it, and just want to say thank you for everyone who's been showing up and for all of your support, all your amazing comments and your contributions. I've got some really great questions from our audience. I did a Facebook Live earlier today and got some really great questions for my guests. But before we start here, before we get to this amazing dude who's going to be on the show tonight, this hunky, amazing, really great actor guy, super interested in seeing what he's been up to during this whole pandemic stuff. He was my co-star in 100 Days to Live. And we're going to be getting into all the good stuff, the juicy stuff about acting and pursuing your dreams and what it takes to overcome challenges that stand in the way of you accomplishing and fulfilling on the things that matter to you most. But before we do that, just want to give a big shout out to our sponsor, Picticular, the movie curating app that allows you to go on there and watch whatever movie you want to, because it is not the easiest thing to be finding great movies out there. There's a lot of really stinker movies out there. And if you want to find out what is trending, what is hot, what is cool, what is not, go to Picticular. All you got to do is download it and just download it right to your phone. And when you log in there, you can see what your friends are watching and you can recommend other movies. And then there's an ability to swipe left, swipe right, kind of like Tinder. So you get to pick the movies that you like. And then there's the ability to swipe up for your hit list and swipe down to the not so hit list. And if you have a favorite actor that you want to check out, so like my guest tonight, you can type in his name and you can find out all of the movies that he's been in. And then right there at your fingertips, you can just click and boom, you can watch it on either iTunes or Amazon or Netflix or whatever it is. So you don't have to go searching all over the place to find your favorite movies with your favorite actors. So thank you, Picticular, for being a big supporter of this. Again, my really good friend Todd Courtney was the one who's the brainchild behind all of this. Let's support Todd and his app. And that is what this community is all about, ladies and gentlemen. The reason why I created this talk show, the reason why I've created my Inspire community was because I love to support people in what they're doing. I love to support people in pursuing their dreams. I've had so many amazing people in my life help support me to get to where I want to go. Coaches, teachers, acting coaches, life coaches, you name it. There's been so many incredible people who have contributed to helping me get to where I want to go. And we all need a helping hand in life. And sometimes, you know what? We're born into an environment or a place or with family members or whatever. And as much as we love them, sometimes the people that we are surrounded with don't always know how to support us. So what do? It's all about seeking out your tribe and finding the people that will support you with what you are doing and what you are up to. So that's what's great. What's so great about this community is that I've compiled an amazing, incredible group of people, and we do a lot of great fun things together. We've got my Inspire course, which starts on April 11th. So if you're looking for some motivation, some inspiration, this is 6 weeks of intense goal setting and inspiration and community. And we will identify the things in your life that are the most important and help support you in making it all happen. We also have my acting class. I've been teaching acting class online virtually now for 2 months, which I super am excited about. I absolutely love it. And what's exciting too is now that things are starting to open up, I'm going to be teaching acting classes live, not too far from where I live here, which I will be sharing more about in my social media platforms and all that good stuff. We also have Cooking with Colin and vision boards and all that great stuff. So all the things that support you on your quest to be your best self, that's what I love to put out there. And it is all about creating and generating, manifesting the energy and the frequency, putting it out there so that you attract it back to you. I'm a firm believer in the law of attraction. And for those of you who haven't really gotten your head wrapped around or haven't really been exposed to the law of attraction, go watch The Secret or just go, Google it. There's a ton of really great stuff out there that talks about putting out what it is that you want to attract in your life. And for my guest here tonight, I can't wait to talk to him about that very thing, because he's been very successful with his career. We've essentially been acting for the same amount of time, about 20 years, and he's done quite a few projects. This young man is a native of Boston, Massachusetts. He has spent over 20 years, as I mentioned, in the film industry, with over 50 film and television roles under his belt. He's been in The Vampire Diaries, and we're going to be chatting about that because he is friends with Ian Somerhalder and Paul West. Yeah, well, we'll ask him. I can't remember what Paul's last name is. Anyway, doesn't matter. He was on Vampire Diaries. He was on the Orville, 47 Meters Down, Peppermint, bunch of other stuff. And most recently with me on 100 Days to Live, which has been doing amazing. This has been the little movie that could. It has been so cool to see how successful this movie has been doing. And it just goes to show you that if you have a dream and if you're passionate about it and you surround yourself with the right people, you can make things happen. Again, this movie was written and directed by Raveen Gandhi, who I had on Coffee with Colin a few weeks ago. And Raveen's the CEO of a company. He had passion and a dream to make a movie. So he started doing research. He started researching screenplays and writing and all that stuff. And so it just goes to show you that no matter where you are at in your life, you're never too old. It's never too late to do the things that really, truly matter to you. So it's been exciting to see how well this movie has been doing. If you haven't seen 100 Days to Live, go to Particular and see. Francis says it is an awesome movie. We've been getting really great reviews, and I'm excited to be talking about the movie with my guest tonight. And we're going to be chatting with him about what it's like being a dad with 2 kids during COVID, because a lot of us have been, dealing with that. Fortunately, I don't have kids, so I haven't had to deal with that, but we're going to be talking to Chris about that. And again, we've got some great questions from my audience that we're going to be asking him. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for the fabulous, the handsome, the incredibly talented Mr. Chris Johnson.
Hey, how are you, man? That was amazing. That's quite the intro. You're a shining beacon of positivity, brother. Love it.
Yeah, well, I've been so bored out of my mind sitting here in my place during COVID. I had to do something, right?
Right. This is amazing. Yeah, because you're just spinning at the top. The phone stops ringing. You're like, after like 2 months, you're like, I got to figure something out. And then.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So what have you been doing over the past year?
Well, as you know, that the film industry isn't the most COVID-friendly business in the world. So, you have 100 people on set sharing buffet food and doing all that. So I was pretty shut down for a while. So I took over the role pretty much of a homeschooling dad. Like, I have a 10-year-old daughter and a 7-year-old son. And starting last March, they shut the schools down. So I realized quickly that I'm the teacher that I probably would have hated in school.
So are they paying you back for you may be not so nice to your substitute teachers?
I guess they say that. That's always the way it is. Like you have your parents say, just wait till you have kids. They're going to turn out just like you. And you're like, well, they were right. So
yeah. Do you see a lot of personality in your son or your daughter that's similar to you? Or are they opposite from you?
You see like a total perfect mix. Like I feel like with 2 kids, you have one kid that's very like, we'll go into like risk management someday. They're very careful. They're very, precise. And the other one's just like a Tasmanian devil, crazy, like keep the fork out of the socket, just keep them alive. That's the main job. So it's that's kind of the balance that I have. And I think a lot of actors have like that kind of a balance right there. So.
Yeah. Do you feel like your kids have taught you a lot of things about life and just life lessons in general?
Oh God, more than anything I could ever imagine. It's it helps, in my work and life, everything. They kind of teach you to put your ego aside and get out of your own way. And you're forced to do that because life's just not about me anymore. You have these kids, you have to guide them. You want to teach them a good path and hopefully have them turn out to be great productive members of the world,
Yeah.
with whatever tools you can give them. And you really got to check your ego to do that. And I think
Yeah.
in life, as you get older, it's important to kind of check your ego as well. And I love what you said about finding your tribe, and it's about finding other people and reaching out, and you become a better listener, you become a better friend, a better person.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. That's one of the things as an actor, and in order to achieve the success that I've had, that very thing, you've got to learn to be able to park your ego. And when we talk about ego obviously is it's something that gets in the way when we feel offended or when we get defensive. But ego is also, it gets in the way, at least it did for me, when I would walk into my auditions and feeling like I was being judged, or I was so worried about what people thought of me. So I was like in my head so much. And I've had some really great acting teachers who just helped me get out of my head and more into more connected to, I guess, my soul, my spirit, my heart center. And that's the real, I would say the big difference that helped me get over the hump of feeling self-conscious in front of these rooms. Because what I talk about, in my book and in my acting classes and stuff, is that the best things in life don't happen up here. I mean, you can come up with a great idea, you can think about a way to solve a problem, but you fall in love here, and this is where life really, the best things in life happen right here. And the more my acting teachers would remind me of this, the more I'd be like, oh, right. Yeah. It's not about going in there and doing it right, because there really is no right way. And so it's just really been learning how to just, like we just mentioned, parking that ego, putting it aside, and just really connecting back down here. And I think kids are the best at reminding us of that very thing.
For sure. And I think you nailed it completely. And it's in acting in life, when I found that moment when I realized I have to be willing to fall on my face and just completely fail. And once you embrace failure and know that it's a good thing and it's a wonderful thing, and you start to see that they're on your side. They don't want to see you. They don't want to see you mess up. They want you to get the job. They want you to be the best you. You wouldn't be there without it. And to kind of get out of your own way, which is what an acting coach kind of really put in me. Like you said, it's get out of here.
Yep.
That's kind of what acting's all about. It's so weird. It's like you study and you train and you go to schools, and basically all they're teaching you is to just be a human again, but with other words.
Yeah.
So, I don't know if you have friends that that don't act or whatever, and they grab a sheet and they're like, hello, how did you do this today? And you're like, just say it. And you can't until it takes that much training to just be like, hey, how did you do this today? It's a strange thing.
So you've had, because during COVID, we're all doing these at-home auditions. So set up video camera in my living room, and I've got the backdrop and all that. And so I've invited some of my friends come over. Hey, will you just read this audition with me? And like you were just saying, it is like they have never read anything before.
Anything.
A native of, but why are you just say it? What is
or they'll scream and they're so close to the microphone. You're like, why are you yelling? Stop. And bless them, because we're actors. I couldn't do anybody else's job. That's for sure. So I don't know, if I tried to go to court and help win some trial, I'd fail. So I don't know why I'd expect my lawyer friend to be a good reader of this. So
yeah. Well, Elaine McCaw just said, two handsome men there. Thanks, Elaine. Appreciate that. Very sweet of you. Thanks for being here. So Chris, did you always want to be an actor?
No, I know it kind of just fell into me when I was in college. I had played sports my whole life. I was playing baseball, and sophomore year I got mono during fall ball. And
where were you going to school?
Villanova University in Philly.
Okay.
So Big East baseball, and I managed to walk on. And I got mono. I lost 15 pounds, and the coach is like, "Are you coming back? You made the team." And I was just like, "I think I'm done," because it's pretty elite level, and I think my work ethic superseded my talent. And so I was like, I need to find something else. And I found improv comedy, and I started doing that. And dropped my economics minor, and took theater as like a central minor the rest of the way out with a business degree. So like, I told my buddy, I was like, I think I'm gonna go in LA and become an actor. And this is back before like all like Jersey Shore, all these like reality TVs where like people up. Like it was hard. Like you had to like there was few jobs to go get, and you know, because we're ancient. And so I was like, I'm gonna do it. He's like, you can't do that. It's impossible. And I was like, well, when someone tells me it's impossible, I'm like, I'm going to do it.
There you go.
So
did he say it more so from a place of, dude, I don't want you to like get your dreams dashed, or was it more so like, don't waste your time, or like, because a lot of people will say that, and a lot of the times it's normally to like, they think they're protecting the person, saying like, look, you know how difficult that is. You like, don't waste your time. Do you feel like that's what he was?
No, I mean, he loves me, and I think but he's like, it was back then. He was just like, that's impossible. Like, I don't know anybody on TV or film.
Right.
It's impossible to do. Not like you can't do it. It was kind of just like, can't be done. And I was like, well, then it's gonna have to be done in some way or form. Yeah. How about you? I want to ask you, like, how?
Yeah, I mean, pretty much the same thing. I was going to college, played sports my whole life. That was the thing that I really was passionate about. But the fact that I was you know, one of the slowest wide receivers out there, I quickly realized that you know, wasn't going to work out for me. So I was just kind of trying to find the thing that I was next passionate about. And it was engineering, and then it was biology pre-med, and thinking that's what I was going to do. But I still knew deep down that I wasn't 100% sure if that's what I really wanted to be doing. And then I heard on the radio about this model talent search thing my senior year. Ended up in Milan, Italy, doing runway shows with Giorgio Armani, and then ended up in New York City. And I was like, oh, this is cool. This will last like a couple of years, and then I'll go to medical school. And then one thing led to another. And I booked a Folgers coffee commercial where they were like, okay, you've got this commercial audition. All you got to do is go in, and when you go in for commercial auditions, really what it comes down to is there's really no, oh, I think you're frozen. You look like the Exorcist. There you are. You're back. Are you here? It looks like Chris. Oh, there he is. All right, there we are.
It's, you know, my kids are downstairs. They're playing Roblox or something. So everyone's a million people online right now or something. So
okay. Well, you just look like the Exorcist for like 2 seconds.
Great. Freeze that. Sell it. Yeah.
So I was just saying, my first acting job, I booked a Folgers coffee commercial. And with commercial auditions, there's really no scripts. Like with acting auditions, you know, they send you the script, you read it, you got to memorize your lines, you walk in there. With commercials, you know, you walk in, they're like, all right, cool, come over here. There's a guy coming on the subway. You smell the coffee, you start dancing. So I'm like, oh, all right, whatever. So I just started like, whatever. And this is one of the things where, like, when you really don't really have an idea of how it's going to go, and you don't have any preconceived notions of doing it right, you're able to just be in the moment and play. And that's how I started like booking some of these commercial auditions. And then my commercial agent said, well, you know, you seem to be just booking these commercials. Have you ever thought about doing any acting? I was like, oh God, no. Like I was like terrified of like getting up in front of people.
Get out of here. Yeah.
And she was like, well, why don't you take an acting class? See if you like it. I was like, all right, you know, what else am I going to do? So I went into the acting class, and I swear it was the first time where I felt like it was a safe space, like you were saying, to just dare to suck and fail and kind of be vulnerable and get up in front of a group of people. It was like the first place where I'd be sitting there, and, you know, right in front of me, two actors would get up on stage and start pouring their heart out into the words on the page. And it looked like, I mean, they were just this is, you know, opening up their, like, this is who I am, and like, you know, tears and passion and all this stuff. And I was like, wow, that just like, it's moving. It's contagious. I mean, that's why when we watch great movies that we love, we can be sitting in our living room and literally start crying. You know, it's like we get so invested in these characters. And I was like sitting in this little theater in New York City, like, oh my God, this is incredible. This is amazing. And then they're like, okay, Colin, your turn. I'm like, oh Jesus, like, what do I do? Like, and so they're like, here's a piece of paper, here's the words, and just start saying the words. And I did this monologue where I was a soldier returning from the Gulf War, and I had lost my buddy. And just reading the words, I literally started like tearing up because I could just imagine what it would have been like to lose your best friend. And it just felt like it was just really powerful. I mean, the energy in the room and the just feeling free to express the emotions that were on this page. It was like, this is pretty cool. This is still like very nerve-wracking, and my armpits are super sweaty, but this is kind of cool. And so I just was like, I kept showing up and learning more. And the more I did it, the more I just fell in love with it.
That's amazing. That's way different than my first commercial in my first acting classes. So
what was your first commercial?
Oh my God. My first one is my roommate found this guy who was like an agent, and his name was Wizard. No, I'm not kidding. His name was Wizard. And he's like, oh, I can get you on some auditions. So I go out, and the first commercial I got was a 1-800 The Law 2 commercial. And oh my God. So you get to set, I don't know if you've ever seen these commercials, but like no one's going to go from 1-800 The Law 2 to like Handmaid's Tale right after. It's like, it's pretty low budget. It's pretty bad. And I remember doing it, and then the advertiser like, can you be bigger? Like, I was just like, man, lawyers are so expensive. And they're like, no, we need you to be like, lawyers are so expensive. And I was like, and I looked at the director, the camera guy, and I was like, hey man, do you think that's kind of big? And he's like, hey man, none of us want to be here. My dad won an Oscar for Aliens. He got to my dad, and I was like, all right, well played. Yeah. What they want. And so I did the commercial, and then like I hadn't gotten my check, and I called Wizard, and I was like, hey man, where's my check? And he's like, what? And he starts like, hey, what's up, Sarah? Starts like yelling at me, and he's like, who do you think you are, John Travolta? And I was like, I just wanted my $500, man. And I never got paid.
Really?
Yeah. And it was like, and from that, they gave me another commercial to ad people, and they didn't tell me that it was for Mexico. And I was like selling car insurance, and it was like, 888-000-929. And I was like, oh man, it's gonna be a long road. And,
yeah, you're like, yep, this is why I came out to LA, huh?
Yeah. My parents like, you got a business degree from a good school, and you're doing that. All right, well, good luck. Yeah. But then,
did you give yourself like a time frame to say like, okay, I'm gonna give myself 2 or 3 years. If nothing happens, I'm gonna quit and leave, or were you just like, I'm doing this?
Never. I think honestly, if people that are out here maybe that might want to become actors or whatever, it's you have to. I mean, my opinion, at least from my experience, I had to go all in. If I gave myself an out, then I would be halfway out the door. So it was like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to work 2 waiting jobs. I'm going to be in 2 different classes all over the week. I'm going to live in the Valley of Los Angeles, because back then no one lived in the Valley. No one wanted to come visit the Valley. So you didn't want to go over the hill. So instead of going out with some friends, and I was like, I'm going to go back to an acting class, or I'm going to do a free table read or whatever, and just hustle. And that was like a big thing for me. And I think it's to give yourself like that, you're allowing yourself to not succeed. And I don't want to say fail, because failing is okay, but like, you're not really putting all of yourself into it.
Yeah. So what's up, Nicole? Nicole wants to hear your Boston accent.
Oh man, it's hardcore, Nicole, I swear. It was actually when I first moved out there, they were like, we really like you. You're a good looking guy, but that accent, it's ridiculous. It's got to go. And I was like, what are you talking about? And they're like, where's your car? I'm like, I parked it out there. And they're like, and this is before like The Departed. This is before like, Google.
Yeah, well, I played Tommy Rizzoli on Rizzoli and Isles.
Yeah.
So I had a little bit of a, South Boston accent. I ran over a priest, but hey, I mean, he broke his legs. He didn't die. So, hey it's all right. It was, it's fine.
Southie, what are you going to do? It's,
it's ran over with my car.
I'm sure we could go back and forth with a million. Like every guest star you do, you're like, you're killing somebody or by some crazy means. And like, how many times have you like had like committed a murder and you're like in an interrogation room? I feel like that's so many of the dramas that are out there.
Well, speaking of, you played detective in 100 Days to Live.
Mm-hmm.
And how did you get that role?
Well, first of all, how about that film? I mean,
amazing, right?
Rotten Tomatoes. It's just the little engine that could. I can't believe it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I went in and I had known the casting directors here. Like I had moved to Chicago a few years back from LA, and I was going back and forth.
And why did you move to Chicago from LA?
I got a TV show called Betrayal for ABC that was out here. And
okay.
Then the kids ended up being, starting school out here, and it just seemed like a healthier place for at least like my kids. There was good schools, and it was like a little neighborhood. It was, I made this my first adult decision. I called it was to like basically be like, okay, let's do this, and I'll just travel and go back and forth, And then the show got canceled after a season, so as many do. And then I just kind of like started just jumping on planes. I was literally back and forth and working anything I could find out here that would keep me. And this one came up, and I was like, I read it, and then I was like, oh, this is an industrial coatings guy wrote this. I was like, this is good. I don't know about you, but I was like, this is good.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? Like,
yeah. I mean, I had no idea who wrote it. I just read it. I was like, this is pretty good. And then I didn't know who'd written it or who was directing. I mean, I saw that, his name was on the script, but it was like, okay, I didn't even think to like Google the guy to really see what he was up to or who he really was. But
I had some intel actually. That was his sister has a kid that goes to the same school as my children. So my friend was like, Bella's like, brother, like there's a guy, he's like a coding company who wrote a movie.
Yeah.
Try to get into it. And like within a week, I told my friend Chris as well. I was like, I'm actually going in for that movie. I'm going to see him. And he's like, tell him we said hi. So I had a phone. I was like, all right, let me see what this codings guy wrote. And I was like, oh, and super impressed. I don't know about you, but I was like, yeah, I want to be a part of this movie. And so,
yeah. And unfortunately, we didn't have any scenes together because just the way it worked out, you were the guy trying to find me and the killer.
Exactly.
And so we never actually had our stuff together, but you had your stuff with Heidi, who's exceptionally talented. Amazing experience.
Yeah, talk about like present. She's really present and hard on her sleeve kind of performance right there, and she killed.
Yeah,
it. I mean, everybody. Yeah. It's Chicago's got some really talented crew, a lot of talented people, and I've loved.
Yep.
I'm sure we've done any of the Chicago shows or anything.
Yeah,
like that.
Chicago Fire. Yeah,
work your way through. They're like, oh, Colin, Chris, done, check.
Yeah,
beat it. Go
rotate through.
Yeah,
yeah. So the fact that you knew Bella, and Bella was actually on Coffee with Colin. Bella is the dating and relationship coach. The fact that you knew her and through your kids, and there was that kind of networking little thing there. Would you say that a lot of your jobs have come from networking, or have they come from you just going in the room and auditioning?
A lot was going in the room, and then in going in, as you know, I'd go in for a show and I wouldn't get it, and they liked me and they brought me back. I mean, the first job I had was JAG, which was a CBS show, guest star, and I went in 7 times before I got one. So I think it's kind of like seeing my face and them just getting sick of me, and they're being like, "Fine, just give him one, get him out of here."
Yeah.
Oh my God, he's here again. So it was like that, and then building relationships, I'd say, with casting directors from working on something, and like I said, they're on your team too, so they want to put the best people forward. It makes them look good. They happen to like I love Colin Egglesfield. I love his work. I love what he does. He's coming in for this. This is who I want. So kind of builds like that over the years. And it's persistence, like staying in the business, not giving up, like that old Harrison Ford thing where Harrison Ford said, how'd you make it? And he's like, well, I moved out with 10 of my friends, and 5 years later there were 7, and 4, 7 years later there were 3, and then finally 10 years later it was just me, and I got it, So
yeah,
it's that kind of thing.
Yeah. Would you do anything differently if you had to do it all over again?
Would I get to do it in this day and age or back in 2000 when we started? Because the means now is incredible. You have they shoot Oscar-worthy films that go into the theater, Tangerine on an iPhone.
Yeah.
And so it's just it's a different time than when we did it. So I think when we started out, I was pretty proud of my hustle. You obviously make mistakes and turn things down and don't do things. Life takes you on certain paths and makes you stronger and better, but you have to kind of eat some crow and deal with some issues along the way. But I'm happy where I'm at. Kids now, I'm like, it's abundant. I've made short films back in the day on these like crappy
16 millimeter.
It's all that, and it was it wasn't gonna ever go anywhere, but it was good to do it. Yeah.
What would you say is the hardest, like for people who are watching, who are thinking about becoming an actor or getting into the business? What would you say is the hardest thing about our business and succeeding as an actor?
Wow, there's a lot. I'd say, the hardest thing would be to build that. There's like a certain type of alligator skin you need, where like you need to just have that unwavering belief in yourself and an unwavering passion for what you do, and to love it. And it's hard to keep that up sometimes, because you go through a wave where you don't get the job so many times. Yeah. And it's all relative, and you start getting jobs, but it's still, you're like, trying to get to that next level. And it's like, I always say you're either like water skiing or treading like water with sharks all around you. You're never in the boat. Yeah. It's like, you're like, and then you fall and you're like, I'm dying. And then,
it's such a great analogy.
So it's tough. You're never just like, because once a job ends, it's like, champ got knocked out. He's got, you always finish the fight. So it's that. It's really that kind of believing in yourself and really, hey, Zulema, thank you for listening. And it's true, like in anything in life. It's just like the unwavering passion and the belief, no matter what, that you will do it. And like everything, you just got to work your butt off. Nothing easy is, nothing satisfying easy. So I talk about in my book, in my Inspire course, it's really important to really get clear about what your why is and why you do things in life. Because as we've just been mentioning, like not just acting, but anything in life is difficult. So what is it about acting that you love so much? Why do you do it? What allows you to endure all the rejection and all the heartache that comes along with it? I think it goes back to my first improv performance, like live, and you go out on stage and you're great, and you get that insatiable high that's like this rock star unimaginable thing, and then you go back out and you bomb, you're terrible, and you get backstage, and I'm like, get me back out there. I got to go back out right now. And it's so many things in life you want to like run away from something, but for me to have that, like, I need to go back out there right now. Yeah. And myself. That was the why. That was that insatiable feeling of like, wow, I love this. And then I found out like, this can be your job. You can get paid for this, and sure, you got to like deal with all of the craziness, but like you got to do that in anything. So it's really fun to me. I really enjoy it. I enjoy meeting a bunch of new people every time I work. I enjoy that, like camaraderie, especially making an independent film like 100 Days to Live. You can't make 100 Days to Live unless everybody is a well-oiled machine. Every has to be working, because there's no time and no money. You're shooting
Right.
really much. So you also, you have to really believe in each other to know, like, we didn't work together, but I was like, Colin's going to go kill his scenes. That stuff's good. I got to go kill mine. And then everyone else does their job, and we stay in our lane, and hopefully it all just comes together like it did. And you're like, oh, look at that. Amazing. So,
yeah. Yep. Awesome. So we've got some questions here from my audience, and we're just going to fire away here. What would you say? So this is from Nadine Armstrong. She's asking, what was your most challenging role?
Ooh, I did a little independent film where I played a crackhead opposite Jenna Malone and Cam Giganti. I played Jenna Malone's ex. She's been in everything if you've seen her. She was like at Sundance.
Yeah.
And small role, like an ex-husband. We had a child together, and I had to be this strung out kind of crackhead guy, and I was kind of like fit then. And I was like, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna go Christian Bale. All right. And I ate just egg white salad, this little thing from Trader Joe's, for weeks, drank coffee, ran every day, and I lost 18 pounds in like 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks. I mean, really unhealthy. And all to play this little part. And the movie went to a couple festivals.
Awesome.
But it did, whatever. But I was like, I'm gonna go for it. I want to test my boundaries and see like what I can do, even if no one's really gonna see it. So do you ever listen to or read any of like reviews or critique, or do you get bothered by people saying comments like anything negative about your talent or your acting? Do you worry about that stuff? You can't, like I mentioned earlier, is once you have kids, you kind of like just check the ego at the door. I think once upon a time it may have, but now it's like, the greatest performance. I just watched Handmaid's Tale, for instance, which is brilliant. It's one of the darkest, brilliant shows on TV. I can guarantee I go on Twitter right now and people will be like, every actor's garbage on that. Everything, so you just can't appease everybody. So I used to try not to appeal to anybody. I'd like to hope like my family's proud of me, maybe. But other than that, and it's funny because when you finish a job, I don't even necessarily need to watch it, because it's like with what we do, you're like, imagine you're like, well, I'm already better as a result of that job. Like, I want to film it again. I feel like I would do better this time, because every time you do it, it's like, you get more skill, more expertise. So, no, I just can't sweat that stuff. I don't have time for it. Like, when you're on set and you're doing your takes, are you someone who is like, all right, I felt like we nailed it, let's move on? Or are you more like, you know what, let's do another one, I feel like I could do it better? Are you constantly trying to work it and do as many takes as you can? Or are you just like, okay, you know what, I felt pretty good, let's go? I defer to so I need some water with the coffee. I defer to my director. He's behind the monitor. And if I'm thinking I need another take, then I clearly wasn't invested enough in it. I mean, unless I like completely go like toe up and I'm like, no, that was horrible. You got to trust your director. I'm a firm believer of like, trust that person knows. They see it, you don't. And then if they think they have it, we move on. And that's as far as I can go in control. I can just like, I'm all about like, let's get going. They said we got it, let's do it. I'm not like, I don't try to nitpick myself, because if I do, I don't think I could do it. I think I would be judging myself the whole time.
Too paralyzed. Yeah.
I can't. I need to be free and on my toes, because if not, I'm just not good. And it's And so you did first season of Vampire Diaries, right? Did
with Ian and Paul Wesley.
There it is. Yeah.
And what was that like? Those guys are great, man.
It was fantastic, and it was like the first season, and they just kind of discovered. I did like half the season, so it was like right when they discovered that the show might be a little cult phenomenon, might be a hit. Yeah. So everybody was super happy. Everyone was like loving it on set, and I just found out that the sex of my first baby was going to be a girl. So all the girls, they put balloons in my trailer and they're like, name the baby Nina or Caroline. So like, it was like an amazing environment. The guys were great. And it was, it was a great 3 months in Atlanta.
Yeah. And you're now in business with Paul and Ian, yeah?
Yeah. We just,
tell us about what you guys got going on here.
Yeah. So it's, I'm sure people that are Vampire Diaries fans see, like, you know, it's, they've started a bourbon company. They were famous for drinking bourbon on the show and having this, they were brothers on the show and having a bond. So they've created this brothers bond bourbon. And a mutual friend of ours from Toronto who's helped putting it together kind of mentioned my name. We got to chatting and had a long talk with Ian, Ian Summerall, who's a big conservationist and got super into this in a regenerative agriculture for the bourbon and with farming and trying kind of do it the right way. That, keep the carbon footprint low but release a really kind of cool product that will hopefully cater more towards the younger generation. Because bourbon's like usually an older guy with a cigar, but they're trying to break that barrier and have the younger generation start drinking some bourbon.
Yeah. So is it available? Is it out?
It's coming out. They did a limited release. It sold out within minutes. They have got quite the following, and so check it out. I think it comes hit stores mid-May, so May 2021. Okay. Yeah.
Are you a bourbon connoisseur?
I'm not. But if I see an interesting investment in people that are like really passionate about something, and having talked to them, they were so passionate about it and knew so much and really wanted to do it the right way. Where they said, like, as far as farming and agriculture, because it's so much rye and corn that goes into it, they were like, we want to do a good, sustainable thing. And I was like, I'm in. This sounds amazing. Awesome. Yeah. So I did that.
Awesome.
And, 2020 was a crazy year for film. You got to start finding other ways to hustle. Yeah. Things happen. So. Yeah,
definitely. Jody Donahue, who is also from Boston, she wants to know which actor.
I know, like your cousins John and Johnny and Jimmy Donahue, probably.
Yeah.
Total classic name. What's up?
Yeah, I wonder if they're probably all related. What actor or actress would you love to work with?
Oof. That's a tough one. Like just last year would have been the late great Chadwick Boseman. That guy's the same age as me, and one of those guys where I watched him in Black Panther, Jackie Robinson, and he had this stillness, strength about him that was like you just see in Tom Hanks and Morgan Freeman. Just older people have been around a while, and I was like, it is like. I was like, he's my age, and he's got this depth to him that was amazing. It would have been him. He was pretty fantastic. Let's see. God, Tom Hanks is great. Morgan Freeman, Denzel. Who's great? Who would scare the crap out of me is Tom Hardy. He's a pretty good actor. I kind of like to work with him because I come from like a repetition Meisner kind of world of being present, and I'm sure that just throws it at you in the craziest ways. So,
did you watch Peaky Blinders?
Yeah. Dude. I mean, everything say this. Almost hey, what's now? Get the hat. And like, I don't even.
Yeah, Roy told me. That's just. And Tom Hardy plays. What's his name? Solomon. What's his like?
I can't remember offhand.
Dude, one of the best characters. If anyone hasn't seen this yet, you have to watch Peaky Blinders. It is.
Murphy, Cillian Murphy's.
Cillian Murphy's amazing. Yeah.
Keep the volume up, and you have to focus because the dialect it's crazy. Some of their accents you have to focus. Like
Manchester.
Oh. Yeah, pretty good. There's such a laundry list, and it changes so often. Like you see, performances like Bryan Cranston. He'd be a great guy. Because you imagine the richness that he'd give you.
Yeah, and he's an inspiring story too, because obviously, well into his 50s when he hit it, with Breaking Bad. But before that, he was the dad on Malcolm in the Middle. And he was just kind of trucking along. And even someone like a Ty Burrell, on Modern Family. What's his face? The guy who played the dad.
Oh, Ed O'Neill.
Nope, the other dad.
Ty Burrell, the younger one with the black hair?
Yeah, it was Ty Burrell, right?
Yeah.
So he was ready to give it up. He was like, I'm done. This is, and then finally Modern Family came up literally when he was about to give up acting, and then boom.
You hear that so often. It's so crazy.
You never know, man.
Yeah, and I read that Bryan Cranston's a great autobiography, a great read, and it's just and he's been chugging. 54 years old he was when he got Breaking Bad. It was like, wow. And yeah, it's crazy. I saw him at Wrigley once, and when it was a big hit at Wrigley Field at the Cubs game, he was sitting, pretty close to us, and the poor guy, it's the height of Breaking Bad.
Oh,
couldn't even watch the game. I guess, but
Do you get accosted on the street or at restaurants?
It depends. It kind of goes in waves. When you're like on the show, doing it like last year with Orville. When I was doing Trail out here, and I was at Whole Foods once, and this woman, like, you can drink in Whole Foods. So this woman's with her husband, and she's like, "You're on that show." I was like, "Oh yeah." And she's like, "God, the other guy on that show is really handsome." I was like, "Yeah." God, you're. It's funny. Actors are just so much shorter in real life. I was like, well, like all humans, we come in all sizes and shapes. And the husband's like, yeah. And you could see she was like, kind of panicking. But she just kept like throwing the insults at me. And I was like, have a great day. And the husband.
Yeah, thanks a lot. I was actually at the LA Observatory where the big telescope, beautiful. It was where they filmed Rebel Without a Cause. So I'm up there, and this probably like 16, 17-year-old girl comes running up. She's like, hey, excuse me. I think it's him. I think it's him. So wait, you're on TV, right? I'm like, yeah, I've been in a few TV shows. It's him. And so her girlfriend comes running over, and they're like, oh my God, Robbie, we love you. We like, oh, I'm sorry, Robbie? Like, yeah. Aren't you Robbie Amell? And I'm like, oh no, I'm sorry. I'm Colin Egglesfield. Oh, who? I was like, forget it. They're like, oh, okay. And they walked away all disappointed. I was like, yeah. So that's I've
had that. I've had that. It's at Runyon with some like big group of someone from like Brazil or whatever, and they were like, 50 Shades of Grey. I'm like,
oh yeah.
Not me. Nope. Yeah. Just the beard and the hair, and we'll just be like, close enough. So
yeah. So Carolyn Kelly would like to know, what kind of character would you find most challenging?
Oof. The hard ones I feel are the ones that are like really, really close to home. I mean, like, it's weird because like you say like I play these a lot, and they're kind of challenging to be able to separate yourself when you're playing like a father who's lost a child or losing a child, and like you enjoy them, but it's like it takes more like to just naturally be there and not kind of spin off into your own world. So those ones that are like really close to home are harder, because the interesting bad guy ones and stuff, they just kind of they're fun. So you're playing, So for me, I think it's the ones that are like real close to me, where I'm like, ooh, I gotta get past that feeling so I can do the job,
Yeah.
How about you?
I was chatting about this. I was watching an interview with Guy Pearce, and I didn't realize this. So Guy Pearce is one of my favorite actors. He was in LA Confidential, and he played the King in the King's Speech. He plays Colin Firth's brother.
Last week, Memento as well.
Yeah, exactly. Amazing actor. And I didn't realize one of his first films, he played a drag queen in Priscilla, Queen of the Desert.
Yeah.
And he talked about how he's like, yeah, I read the script and it was fantastic and it was amazing and I did it. And then he said he was auditioning then for LA Confidential, and he was afraid that I can't remember who the director was, but he said, I'm glad that he didn't watch that movie, because if he did, he's like, I don't think there would have been any way I would have gotten LA Confidential because their characters were so different. Right. But I just thought it was so brave of him to, start out his career playing a drag queen. I think eventually down the road, after you establish yourself as an actor, I think it's fun to kind of experiment and try different roles. Sure. But I think in the beginning, it can be a little tricky with regards to being pigeonholed as a certain type of role or actor. Like Matthew McConaughey got pigeonholed in that romantic comedy thing, and he quit acting for like 4 years before he was able to then start being considered for like True Detective and Lincoln Lawyer and Mud and some of these other films that he'd always wanted to do, but he just wasn't offered those because he was known as the romantic comedy guy.
Right.
So I think something like that would be, not that I wouldn't do it. It would just be something that it would have to be a really good script.
Yeah. And you have to you basically like, for me too, is like a great director. I have to be like, I've seen stuff, I know you, I trust you. Like, put myself in your hands and I'm going to just literally walk out, maybe even literally walk out naked. God knows what the film is, but I'm going to put myself in your hands and trust that you have the vision for it. So,
have you ever had to be naked in a movie?
A TV show. I did a show called South Beach, the first show I did. And
okay, ladies. What was it again, Chris? I'm sure a lot of ladies will want to check that out.
It's called South Beach. And I had to wake up naked, and I had to wear. First, they give you these like flesh-colored diapers that look like Spanx or whatever, almost.
Yeah.
And it just wasn't working, and I'm like, just give me the sock. That's why I had to pull like the chili peppers. I was like, just give me the sock. It's the only thing that's gonna work. So yeah, very tasteful. In a sense, nothing too crazy. No.
Yeah. Okay. So I have a pretty interesting question here. This is from Elisa Bricky. She's asking, how did you get your nickname Duck? Is that pertaining to you? Is that?
She probably started. Someone wrote this on IMDb years ago, and I have no idea who did, but it was playing football freshman year in high school, and I was like super young, and I was a receiver, and they needed like another quarterback. I was like, oh, I'll play. And if you throw a ball, and if it's not a perfect spiral, they call it a duck because it's like terrible. Yeah. And I just was like, I couldn't throw a football then, so I was terrible. So then they started calling me Duck, but no one's called me that since. It's like a few people called me that in high school, so I don't know who got access to the account.
Elisa dug it up.
Elisa, wow, you're
good job, Elisa. Should be a detective.
Seriously.
Evelyn Navarro wants to know: would you like to work in a movie as a superhero?
Oh, I mean, of course. Like Iron Man, I thought when it came out was. So, and like I thought Robert Downey Jr. he was one of my favorite actors.
Amazing, yeah.
Like he did a movie called Two Girls and a Guy, which is a small little indie, and like he plays the piano and he gets up and he does ballet and he recites Shakespeare and like all in like a minute. And I was like, what? Like he is infinitely talented. Like no one is that smug, acerbic, wit, sardonic guy like him, and he is just so when I saw that, I was like, I want to do something like that because I love like everything about it. But yeah, who wouldn't? That's where like all the stuff are now. So it'd be either Iron Man or like a bad guy. I want to be a bad guy.
Okay. Yeah, that'd be fun. Speaking of, guy who plays the Hulk,
Mark
Ruffalo. I read this week.
You're also.
Yes. So I read this week that he went on 600 auditions before he got his first acting role. Oh, come back, baby. Come back, Chris. It's a good picture of you. There you go.
That's amazing. 600?
600 auditions before he got his first acting job.
Well, that right there is a perfect show of persistence. I don't even know. I don't know. I mean, I'd hope I'd have something like that in me, but that's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's super talented.
Yep. And Beth Phillips wants to know, what are your interests and hobbies? And I guess that would parallel along with Aaron saying, what have you been doing during this pandemic?
Okay. Interests and hobbies. I'm still very much a sports guy. Took my first trip on a plane, went out to Steamboat skiing with some old buddies from Boston recently. So anything and all things sports, watching, playing, doing like that. And not quite as successful as your, property business and home building and flipping and everything that you do with that. So much DIY in the house. My girlfriend and I, we ripped up the island and we redid all of the walls, the backsplash, the cabinets, and epoxied the counters. And so it's like,
wow,
there's something exciting about it because, with the first brush stroke or rip out of something, you're like, what have I done? And there's
it's like no turning back.
Yeah, you're like, oh, and it always looks terrible at first. You're like, we've done it now. But at the end, when it comes out great, you're just like that sense of accomplishment, achievement. So we're doing a lot of that, and a lot of playing sports in the back alley with the kids because parks are shut down and all that. So trying to especially in winter out here, in Chicago, it's tough where it's summer's gorgeous, but when the beach is shut down and the winter comes, you're like, it's hard enough entertaining yourself, but then entertaining two kids, it's like,
yeah, I hear it. And you mentioned that you just bought a property down in Tulum, Mexico, yeah?
Yeah. So
anyone who wants to do Airbnb at Chris's property down there,
Jungle of Tulum. I'll be posting it on all of my social media when it's done. Go visit. Go check it out. I was excited. I went down there. My girlfriend's from Mexico City and has some friends down there, and looking for some kind of rental place and other property. And I mentioned Florida and being from Mexico. She's like, I'm not going to Florida when Mexico's right there. So we found a cool little spot and great place to just kind of take the kids to the beach and doing it.
Yeah, Tulum's a great place.
I need to get a job. I need acting. I need the world to completely open back up to pay for all that. But it's been great.
Yep, I hear you. Well, we are at the part of our show where we do our Particular Pick 6. Particular is a sponsor for our show. And Sarah Beth, greetings from Mexico. What's up? And so the Particular Pick 6, I'm going to ask you 6 movie-related questions. Are you ready?
Ready.
All right. So what would you say is your favorite movie of all time?
The Natural.
Oh, amazing movie.
Baseball one. Yeah. Mary Poppins a close second, I'll say.
Okay. Trivia question. What is the name of Roy Hobbs's bat?
That is the Savoy Slugger.
That was the second bat. Remember it cracked.
Oh my God! Lightning.
So the lightning hit the tree.
I know the whole thing.
The bat from the tree that the lightning hit.
When he was a kid, and then it broke, and then he got the Savoy Slugger. The first one was Lightning Boy. No, what was it?
Wonder Boy.
Wonder Boy. Oh my God! My favorite movie. I haven't seen it. That's amazing. Nice pull.
Yes. Yeah. And is it Savoy Special or is it Savoy Special? I think it was. Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing.
Awesome. What was your favorite movie growing up as a kid?
Well, that was The Natural, and then Return of the Jedi was
awesome.
Until Royal Tenenbaums, I'd only seen Return of the Jedi that was the only movie I saw 3 times in the theater as a little boy. So
awesome.
Yeah.
What would you say is your favorite comedy of all time?
Airplane. That's a no-brainer. And I judge anybody that says otherwise. That's how I feel about it.
Surely you're joking.
Surely you can't be serious. Of course I'm serious. Stop calling me Shirley.
All right, Billy. Have you ever seen a grown man naked? Ever been to a Turkish prison camp?
Hang around a locker room after gym class. I probably know that whole movie, but yeah.
So good. Oh, excuse me. I speak jive.
That dumb hunky.
This is Cleaver.
To be running cold upside down his head. Shit, man, I can do it. Ain't nothing but lay him down.
Ain't no thing. All right. What is the movie that you are embarrassed to say you love?
Oh.
Mine is The Notebook.
The Notebook. Well, that's fantastic. I'd be okay with that. It's probably like it's Mary Poppins.
Mary Poppins.
That I love that much. They're like, what? The original? I'm like, yes. So,
the original. Have you seen the new one?
It's fantastic. Emily Blunt's great.
Yeah.
The original is Julie Andrews, the best.
All right. Yeah. And who would you say your favorite either actor or character in a film?
I don't know why this came just out of nowhere, but Russell Crowe in Cinderella Man was like, so I don't know, like that was super poignant for me, and I loved that. Yeah, God, I need a minute on that one, but yeah, that's the first one that came to see a man literally begging just for his family and all that, and just see like the rawness of that was what really.
Yeah.
Really, yeah.
Yep. I love everything he does. And then who would you say is your favorite actress or female character in a film?
Favorite actress? Cate Blanchett.
Maybe. One of my faves.
Yeah, there's a bunch.
One of my faves.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. So all your movie selections and these actors, actresses will be on Picticular, so you guys can go. And Chris, you're gonna have a little section on there. It'll show all your little your faves for tonight.
Yeah, check it out. The app. It looks pretty incredible.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's really cool, and it's awesome just to see what you're doing with Ian and Paul. Just to see, it's great to see friends being successful with what they're doing.
Yeah, and it's great to reconnect after we've been in the business for such a long time. It starts to become a small community, and to revisit all that's great. So I'm very happy to have been here, to been working with you. And once this is up, we both live in Chicago now. We gotta get out there in the wild.
Yeah, absolutely. And before you go, real quick, what advice would you give your younger self or anyone out there who is thinking about pursuing their dream of whether it's being an actor or anything, anyone who's thinking about taking that leap and going after what they really care about in life? What advice would you give them? I'd
say there's a quote that I remember, and it's persistence and determination alone are omnipotent. And it's really that. It's persistence. It's showing up and doing the hard work and knowing that something good will come out of that hard work.
Yeah. Yep.
I just keep at it. Have fun and have fun. Lighten up too. Yeah. That's
good advice.
Yeah.
Good advice. Peely says, I would like to ask Chris what it was like to work with Colin and if there was a funny anecdote on the set. Well, not really, because we weren't really working together.
No, and also it's a really dark movie. It was pretty. Everyone was pretty laser. Was it? Like filming, I imagine.
This is the lightest sets, but let's change that, man. Let's do something together.
I would love that. It's great to have you, man. And again, you're a wonderful motivational speaker. So it's such a positive light, man. I love it. Love it.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Appreciate you being here. Thanks so much. And wish you all the best. We should grab a beer very soon. Go to a Cubs game or a Sox game.
Even better.
Sounds good. All right, man. Thanks a lot for being here. Take care.
Yeah, thank you, everybody.
All right. Once again, amazing interview. So cool. I just love being able to chat with amazing and inspiring people. So be sure to check out his Bad Brothers, I think is the name of his bourbon company. And also go on Picticular to check out all of his projects. That's what's so great about Picticular. You can just type in Chris's name and up comes all of his movies and his projects. Brothers Bond. That's what it is. Brothers Bond. Check out his Brothers Bond bourbon coming up. I love to make Manhattans and old fashions. So I'll definitely be checking that out. And thanks so much for everyone for being here. Tonight after this, we do our post show of Coffee with Colin through Patreon. So if you haven't checked out Patreon, go to, you can click on the link in my Instagram bio, and Patreon is a place where you can engage and interact with the community, where we do things like Zoom calls after Coffee with Colin. So tonight, right after this at 9:00 Central Standard Time, we're going to be jumping on a Zoom call. So we talk about the show. We talk about Chris behind his back. And we just chat about things that we're up to, that we're working on. And again, tomorrow night, I am doing my next Inspire webinar. So if you need a little inspiration, if you're looking for a little motivation for the beginning of your week, by all means, jump on there. I'm going to be sharing some really powerful and awesome insight. And again, we've got our Inspire Summit coming up on May 23rd. Stay tuned for the registration page for that. And just make sure that you start this week out with the intention of focusing on the things that you want to create, because it's easy for us to focus on the things that are the things that we have to be doing and the negative things that we are dealing with. So it literally takes a little discipline, but it's simple. All you got to do is do simple things like writing out on a piece of paper, on the left side of the piece of paper, the things that you have to be doing, the things that you should be doing, that you think you should be doing. And then on the right side of the piece of paper, just write out all the things that you want to be doing, all the things that inspire you, all the things that you want to be creating and working on. And you can literally start to go through there and decide what you want to focus on. Because if you don't intentionally focus on the things that you want to be focusing on, your brain will find something to focus on. And a lot of the times it's not the fun stuff. So it takes a little bit of practice and a little bit of discipline. And that's part of what we talk about in my Inspire course. And what we actually do is become more intentional and more efficient at shifting our perspective and our actions then on the things that truly matter to us and the things that actually move the meter in our life. Because a lot of times it's easy to sit back and criticize and judge, but that doesn't always keep us in the place of feeling good about ourselves or about life or about others. So this is an amazing opportunity for you to jump in and discover some amazing things for yourself and to start moving more in alignment with the things that you really want to truly be creating with and connecting with, and surrounding yourself with an amazing community. So thanks again for being here. I wish you all my best for a great beginning to the week. And again, if you want to join us on Patreon for our post show, by all means, go to patreon.com/Colin Egglesfield. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel so you can get alerts on my next episode of Coffee with Colin. And I will see you next week. All right. I'll send you off for now. Take care. Wish you all my best. I'll see you next time.